There was a time when the world map revolved around a single crown. The phrase, "the empire on which the sun never sets," is often associated with Britain today, but it was first used for Spain. In the 16th century, Spain commanded the world's first truly global empire. Its territories stretched across Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Asia. Never before had one kingdom ruled so much of the planet at the same time. And yet history's cruel irony is this. The richest empire the world had ever seen was crushed by the weight of its own wealth. That is why this story still matters. Because Spain made a mistake we continue to repeat, confusing money flowing in with real wealth. After 1492, Spain's encounter with the New World felt like hitting an endless jackpot. Gold and silver poured in at levels no European power had ever imagined. In 1521, the fall of the Aztec Empire opened access to the rich mines of Mexico. Soon after, the conquest of the Inca Empire revealed Potosi, a mountain of silver so vast it earned the name, the mountain that eats men. For more than a century, these mines fueled a constant stream of treasure fleets crossing the Atlantic. Between 1500 and 1650, Spain imported more silver than all of Europe had produced in the previous 1,000 years. This wealth didn't just transform Spain, it reshaped the world. From Seville, silver flowed to the Mediterranean to northern Europe, and across the Pacific to Manila, where it was exchanged for Chinese silk and porcelain. The global economy was born, and Spain stood at its center. From today's perspective, the contrast is shocking. When England founded Jamestown in 1607, a fragile settlement fighting to survive, Mexico City already had universities and printing presses. Lima was a thriving metropolis. St. Augustine in Florida, founded by Spain in 1565, became the first permanent European settlement in what is now the United States. Spain wasn't merely ahead of its rivals, it was operating on an entirely different scale. But beneath the surface, the empire was hollow. Because Spain mistook treasure for wealth. The silver was real, but how it was used turned strength into weakness. Throughout the 16th century, prices spiraled out of control. Inflation soared so dramatically that ordinary Spaniards struggled to afford basic necessities, even as the nation sat on mountains of bullion. The reason was simple. Money only holds value when it remains scarce. When too much floods an economy, its purchasing power collapses. The mechanism was brutal. Goods remained the same, but money multiplied. Prices rose, not because products improved, but because currency lost value. This phenomenon became known as the price revolution, the first great wave of global inflation. Merchants, bankers, benefited. Workers living on fixed wages fell behind. The more silver arrived, the poorer ordinary people felt. The damage went deeper. Instead of building productive industries, Spain chose to consume rather than produce. Italian luxury goods, Dutch merchants, and German craftsmen were paid with American silver, while Spain's own industries withered. Why invest in factories or innovation when treasure ships arrived regularly? Then came the wars. The Habsburg rulers saw themselves as defenders of Catholicism in a fractured Europe. That role carried an enormous cost. Campaigns against the Ottoman Empire, efforts to suppress the Dutch revolt, endless conflicts with France and England, all were financed with New World silver. The 30 Years' War bled Europe dry, and Spain paid heavily. The defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 was not just a military loss, it was a financial shock. So where did the silver go? Into battlefields, shipwrecks, and debt. Spain wasn't only spending what arrived, it was spending what hadn't arrived yet. Banking families like the Fuggers and later the Genoese extended massive loans against future silver shipments. The system depended on flawless timing. When fleets were delayed, sunk by storms, or captured at sea, the crown defaulted. And default it did, again and again. 1557, 1575, 1596, 1607. The richest empire on earth declared bankruptcy 4 times in half a century. Into this fragile system sailed the pirates. They were not random criminals. They were instruments of economic warfare. England and the Netherlands understood that striking a treasure fleet didn't just steal silver, it destroyed Spain's credit. Francis Drake returned to England with plunder worth a massive share of the crown's annual revenue. In 1628, Dutch privateer Piet Hein captured an entire Spanish treasure fleet, triggering another financial collapse. Spain's rivals reinvested stolen silver into navies, banks, and trading companies. Spain's lifeline became the foundation of its enemies' empires. By the early 1600s, Spain still looked powerful on maps, but financially it was empty. Inflation eroded living standards, debt shackled the crown to foreign bankers, and piracy turned its greatest asset into its greatest vulnerability. Meanwhile, England and the Dutch Republic built systems, trade networks, financial institutions, and productive economies. That was the difference. Spain measured wealth in treasure. Its rivals measured wealth in systems. One was finite, the other was self-renewing. History made the outcome clear. This story isn't just about Spain. Whenever floods of money arrive, whether from mines, credit, or modern money creation, the same temptation appears. Spend freely, borrow aggressively, and assume power will last forever. Without discipline and investment in productivity, money corrodes society from within. Spain learned that lesson the hard way, and today the echoes are impossible to ignore. History doesn't repeat itself exactly, but its rhythm is unmistakable. The real question is not whether the pattern will return, it's whether we'll recognize the warning in time.